there's the golden age, which had the look of of George Reed, no, sorry, of Joe Shuster.
Hmm.
Then you had the Wayne Boring Superman, and then when Silver Age is mainly kind of, even though you had Kurt Schaffenberg, which I kind of like his style, you had Kurt Swan, which was like the look of the period. Going into the Bronze Age, where you had artists like Neil Adams, you had Nick Cardy were doing these artists that were doing covers, and then later, what was it, Jose Luis Garcia? These guys that kind of touched on Superman, but they never went into doing it. Why didn't DC change the house style, or do you agree that they should keep with Kurt Swan and not change how they've done before?
I can't disagree with them because it worked. It was successful. I mean, Kurt Swan was on the book for 20 years. I don't think anybody's ever going to have that opportunity again. And they were very, very protective of how Superman was going to be rendered. It was well, as the story goes, Jack Kirby came on, did the faces, and they were like, "Oh no!" But they didn't want Superman looking like that. Erase the faces. And who did they come? Who did they get in there to do? Al Plastino or somebody?
Is Al Pacino and Marty Passo too?
Yeah, they had,
those,
came
Al
in and he's like,
Pacino.
no, no, they did all of the faces. And then for everybody, he's like, oh, they stiffed Jack. No, Jack got to do it when he came back and did superpowers. He did all the faces that he wanted. But in those instances right there, they were so protective of the image, how he was supposed to be drawn, what his face looked like. They were like, no, this was the cash cow, the bread, the butter, the cream, everything at the end of the day. This was not to be messed around with. And I can't argue with them because it worked. It worked until like they felt that the sales weren't there. Then they said 1983 was like the first really big thing they were trying to show. Hey, look how different Superman is. Look, we got different artists, and he's not with Lois, he's with Lana, and this is going on. We got new looks here for Lex Luthor, new look here for Brainiac. And then 3 years later, they were like, well, blow the whole thing up. It's not working. None of it's working.
I
So,
feel I'm just gonna. There's two things I want to backtrack, but I'll to chime in is like, it seemed like they were trying to say it was like we're doing this thing with Gil Kane, but it was like
I forgot Gil Kane. Gil
but-
Kane did some really nice art while
but
he was there. Really nice art.
But they kind of, it was like, it was still Kurt Swan. It was like one issue, a couple issues Gil Kane, then just
Well, there
regular
was a
Kurt
nice
Swan.
little. I know Gil.
It's not
Gil Kane
continuous.
had like.
It's like it hops around. It's
I'm
not
trying to.
every
I'm
issue.
trying to remember because I always remember following the storyline, and I can't remember if it went from Action Comics to Superman, and that's why I think it was a continuous thing at the end of the day. Plus, I have the hardcover editions where all the stuff is collected, so it'll definitely seem like that. But Gil Kane's art on the book was really good, and it was very surprising because I didn't think he had that much dynamism in him. If you looked at the stuff that he did with, say, my first introduction to him is with Green Lantern, the stuff he was doing there, and the stuff he did on Superman. He wasn't barrel chested like from the Wayne Boring or even Kurt Swan model. He was more athletic, but everything, even on the faces, there was just so much energy and action was just coming off the page. Always loved the run that he did on Superman, but this was also one of the reasons I was like, well, wait a minute, you guys didn't really need to make that really hard shift that you did in 1986. You had other artists. Why don't we just do this at the end of the day? But from the top, it was just like, hey, well, we tried in 1983. We gave him a different girlfriend, didn't work. Blow it all up, get rid of it. It's not working.
Well, I'm now backtracking. I'm talking to you, the audience. Our Superman connoisseur, he asked me a question about who redid the faces on Jimmy Olsen. And I say he kind of is taking a shot at me because regretfully, I was like, he wanted to buy some comics. And in truth, I wanted to unload, but there was a 20-year stretch where I was collecting Jimmy Olsens. And I have a Jimmy Olsen, I have like 2 or 3 New Gods reprints of that. And I'm like saying, these Jimmy Olsens are in okay condition, but I didn't think about how the lengths I went to them. And then I sold it to this man, and at the same time, he's never let me forget it.
Yeah.
He never let me forget that
I got the Jimmy
20-year search. I had the first appearance of dark side with the corner cut off, and I'm like saying,
He'll
okay.
never take it. I took that Jimmy.
And he took all of my Jimmy Olsens, and it's like the hurt that I still feel. Sorry, we're totally off topic, so let's keep going back.
I'm not smiling underneath this mask.
He turned to me and asked me about the Jimmy Olsen. You saw that? Did you see that? I just want you to backtrack.
No,
He didn't ask me any other questions.
I gave it a good home.
I chimed in on the bunch of stuff. He didn't ask me any other questions, though.
So you're not going to ask me who's going to win the fight, Superman or Batman? You're not going to do that, right?
Good. Because we already know who wins. So there's no question. There's no need for us to ask whether, whether Superman has a chance.
You got another question the people want to know. You got one for the people? You got one
of
for
course,
the people?
I got one for the people. So if Superman did not land in Kansas
grief.
and he landed somewhere else, would he be who he would become?
No, we've already dealt with that in several stories. There's several Elseworld stories that address that, where Superman lands in Gotham City, he's not the same. Superman lands in communist Russia, he's not the same. Superman lands in the jungle, a la Mowgli or Tarzan, he's not the same. So the Superman for us, as we know him, you're familiar with the whole thing with that. Remember when the butterfly effect was very popular? You change something. It doesn't matter how slight, but you change it. They even did that with the story, was the nail. You change something even so slight, you don't know what the ramifications are. So the Superman that we know and love, it has to go that way, or it's just not going to happen.
So he's not just intrinsically good. That's what I'm trying to get at. No matter what settings you put him, he will always be good.
No. That's
like Batman.
That's a different question. That's a different question altogether. And then again, it's not so much is he intrinsically good, okay? But if you put him in these particular scenarios, is that good going to be corrupted? All right, in a lot of the situations, we get Superman who starts off a particular way, but then ends up just like the Superman we would know him. But that good is going to be significantly challenged, okay, or going to be tried to be used in a totally different way than the Superman proper of the prime Superman, if you will. Probably one of the best ones is Masterman. This is the Superman who landed in Nazi Germany. Okay, and you just see how the character's totally, corrupted, at that situation. But there's still something within him that's like, why, what is it? Why is my conscience still bothering me about this? Because all of those guys are, this is another, now my head's on physics theory, but all of those guys, in terms of physics theory, they're not really unique characters. They're just symmetrical versions of Superman. So in that symmetry, they're just versions of him. It's not like Masterman is his own character. He's a evil Superman. It is not that Soviet Superman is a new character. He's just Soviet Superman. All of those guys are still Superman, warped, changed, twisted, whatever they may be, but they're still Superman at the end of the day, and they just originate from him. So that symmetry is still going to be there. And Superman is a character of deep moral conviction. He's good. All right, so that's something that they still have within them, even if it's being corrupted.
Thank you for that.
I'd like to apologize to the audience. I had envisioned this Ask Cal thing through his core things of being Mars and Cal at the moment. So I've just been enjoying it. So if you've seen me giggle or laugh a little too much, I apologize.
Well, I'm going to take your silences once again. Superman wins. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you got more questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer.
Please.
Superman beats She-Ra on the fight. Don't forget that. Superman beats She-Ra. Somebody asked me this question before. Superman
How?
wins.
How?
He's more powerful on every scale imaginable.
Would he yield because it's a female?
Why would he yield? There's no reason for him to yield.
What about Zatanna? Would he yield to her?
Why would he yield to her?
Why wouldn't he?